Hey everyone, welcome back to This Explainer. I'm Techie. Okay, so today we are jumping straight into a foundational and honestly often totally misunderstood component of the cloud. I'm talking about AWS IAM. You can kind of think of it as your cloud ecosystem's ultimate internal badge system. It's where security shifts away from just a broad perimeter defense to a highly controlled, really specific internal environment.
So to kick things off, we have to tackle a fundamental question. What exactly is IAM and how does it actually differ from the security groups we've talked about in our previous EC2 explainers? Look, mixing these two up is incredibly common, happens all the time. But untangling them, that is absolutely crucial. It's literally the key to mastering AWS security.
Let's picture a massive, highly secure office building. Your security groups? Well, those are your perimeter defense. They're basically the guards at the front desk checking if you're even allowed to step foot in the lobby. But IAM is an entirely different mechanism. It's the internal badge system functioning inside that building. Once you're inside, it's the system deciding exactly which specific doors your badge can actually unlock. Because, just getting through the front door isn't the end of the story. IAM decides not only which rooms you can enter, whether that's a database, an EC2 server, serverless functions like Lambda, or maybe even AI tools like Bedrock, but it also dictates what you are allowed to do once you're inside. So it's not just about granting presence. It literally dictates your exact behavior in that room. So who exactly gets to carry these internal badges? Well, in the AWS ecosystem, it's actually not just humans. I mean, sure, specific people, like your developers and your admins, they definitely need access. But equally important are specific applications. Your apps are constantly doing all this heavy automated lifting in the background, right? So they need their very own internal badges to interact securely with other services. Okay, so once a person or an application gets their badge, we shift gears from the who to the what. What specific actions can they actually take? Just because an application is allowed inside a room doesn't mean it can just go around touching everything on the desk. This brings us to a core concept called the principle of least privilege. It basically means granting only the exact permissions needed to do a job, using really strict rules called IAM policies.
Let's actually look at how this works in practice. Take an S3 bucket, for example. Can a specific user read files in there? Yes, for sure. But can they delete them? Absolutely not. That action is strictly denied by their policy. Or let's take an EC2 instance. An application might have the green light to launch new servers to handle a spike in traffic, but it is completely blocked from shutting existing ones down. It's a rigid, fail-safe boundary. IAM defines all of this with absolute precision. And this matters because, honestly, a huge majority of cloud breaches happen simply because permissions are left way too broad. IAM completely eliminates that Wild West access by ensuring every single action is explicitly defined. If an action isn't strictly spelled out in a policy as allowed, well, it is automatically denied by default. No exceptions. Zooming out for a second, this really encapsulates why IAM is just so critical. It isn't just some optional side feature. It's the foundational security layer sitting underneath literally every single AWS service we've covered. It is the absolute bedrock of your cloud infrastructure. Whenever you touch anything at all on AWS, IAM is right there quietly checking your badge. So that is IAM in a nutshell, the ultimate internal gatekeeper. But before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a quick thought to ponder. As a company scales up from, say, 10 employees to 10,000, with millions of automated application calls happening every single second, how do you manage and audit all those individual badges without grinding your development to a complete halt? That is the real challenge of cloud architecture. If you want to see real permissions actually set up, drop a comment below and just type IAM. Thanks for exploring this with me today, and I'll catch you in the next one.